Good morning, Irene. Thank you for your purchase of the Breville Oracle in Black Sesame. Um, this is the unit with parts of my machine. So I've unpacked the machine and I left the drip tray, the handle, the water tank, and the bean hopper in box so that when I'm using and setting up the machine, I don't wet or dirty those parts. So I'm using the parts from my machine. Um, the machine is up to temperature, it's ready to go. So usually it takes about 5 minutes to reach temperature, but in this case I've just turned it on before the video for the last half an hour or so to make sure we don't waste any time in the video. So yeah, I'll to show you how I like to do my coffees on this machine. I've also set up the grinder. I think it'll be a good coffee at grind size number 20. I made a coffee at grind size number 15. It was a bit too slow. This is what came out in about 40 seconds. So I've increased it to 20, a bit of a larger grind size so that the coffee flows a bit quicker than grind size 15. And I'm using the Aldi Brazil beans. Aldi is one of the very few supermarket brands that I trust. Most other supermarket brands are using stale or old beans. I feel like it's a bit of hit or miss. But anyway, with Aldi, I think it'll be a good coffee. 20. And everything else is default, so the default temperature of 93, default tamping settings, which by the way were pretty good. And I'm using the double basket, of course. So we'll be doing a double shot latte. So hopefully testing all the features. I start the routine with just warming up the machine. So yes, it is warmed up, but sometimes the portafilter isn't, and your cup definitely isn't as hot as it needs to be. So I just run some hot water for either the single or the double duration, just to warm things up. This also acts like sort of a flushing cycle. So if there's any coffee grounds or oils in the handle or in the shower screen, this will rinse those up. So I like to do that with every machine I use. Perfect. So single will go for 25 seconds, double will go for 30. Put this on the side for the time being. And I will take out the portafilter, drain all the water, grab a tissue and then dry it. You want it to be dry before the grinder, before you put it in the grinder and grind the coffee, because it's an automated grinder. You don't want it to be wet, otherwise it'll confuse the tamper. For your interest, I'm also going to measure the input and output of the machine. For an automated machine, this usually isn't something of interest, but just, or isn't something that you should worry about, because it's an automated doser, so it'll calculate the amount automatically, and it also will stop at the desired time of 30 seconds for the double shot. The only thing you change is the grind size. So if you press the double shot button, you get too little coffee, like I did. You increase the grind size. If you get too much coffee, you grind finer to decrease that grind. If you get too much coffee, that means your grind size is too large, so you need to bring that down. And if you're getting too little coffee, that means your grind size is too fine, so you need to increase that. And if it's just right, then you keep it there. And I think 18 or 20 will be just right, but we'll see. So 0 my scale, and then grind. Usually gives me about 20 to 22 grams. Very easy, just lock it in and turn it to the right, it'll grind automatically. In the meantime, you can, grab your milk jug or okay, so I've filled the milk jug to about halfway, so usually they say just below the spout. Your milk jug, I think, has the markers on the max and minimum. I'm using my own milk jug. But yeah, so you need to fill it so that it covers this white part, which in this case it does. And the milk jug we grind output, very, very good, very nicely tamped, smooth. Sometimes there's a bit of loose coffee, so you just invert it upside down to get rid of those. But otherwise, it looks like a good amount, a good polished surface. That was 22 grams. So 22 grams of espresso, so 22 grams of grinds in. And usually for espresso, it's doubling of that. So we want to get double of 22, which is 44. So when we press the double button, if we have the correct settings, by the end of the 30 seconds, by the end of the brew cycle, we should get about 40 to 45 grams. And that's what I'm aiming for. Lock the portafilter nice and tight. It's in the middle, so you don't have to go any further. Just because, like I said, it's very tight at first, because that rubber seal is fresh and yeah, it's fresh and doesn't have a lot of gaps. I'm gonna drain the hot water. Gonna grab myself a spoon. And yeah, I'm also gonna measure the output just to check that we have the correct settings. Of course, when you get the machine, you're probably gonna use different beans, but if you will use the same beans, it will be similar. Yeah, so each bean will probably need slightly different settings. So if you stick to a bean, stick to a setting, you'll make your life much easier. Right, so 0 the scale and then start the brew. Because it's a dual boiler machine, obviously you have access to steam all the time. So you can manually steam your coffee by raising the lever upwards, but if you push it down, it'll go into automatic mode. So I've got the temperature and froth level selected. So it's the default 60 degrees Celsius, and it's the default halfway point for froth level. So we don't want it to be too frothy for a latte, so we'll keep it there. And then press the double. Looks like a good shot. Started pouring at around 10-12 seconds, so maybe we increase the grind size a little bit. But it's flowing nice and symmetrical from both scales. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to continue this shot just because I think it's a little bit too short. So I'm going to stop it right there. So it took us 38 seconds to get this much. I think that's close to 35, I'm not too sure. That's 35 grams of coffee, 34. So I think we need to go just a little bit more. So maybe grind size 25 would be ideal. I'm gonna stop there just because I think this is close enough. I mean, it's not close enough to 40, but we don't have the time to do another shot. So what I would do is increase it to maybe 25. I think that would be a good 23 or 25 should be good enough. I'll leave it at 25. I'll let you experiment with your own beans. It would be a futile endeavor to to try to get it exactly right for my beans, because even with the same beans it might change over the weeks. Yeah, so I think it'll be a good starting point at 25 when you get the machine. Make a coffee. If you want to measure the output, do that please. Aim for doubling of the input in 30 seconds. So in a cup like this, you go just a little bit above what I have now. So around here, that would be about 40 grams. If you have a scale, just use the scale. Oh, and the milk is ready. I almost forgot. Milk is ready. When you take the milk jug out, just make sure you have a wet towel or a tissue handy to wipe off the wand. It gets really hot on the metal, so you have to wipe it with a wet towel. I think tissue won't suffice. And and just wipe it like that. And then when you push it down, it'll auto clean, which is very nice to prevent any blockages. You want to always try to auto clean as well as wipe the wand. If you want, put a towel to keep the drip tray clean, otherwise it'll spray the milk on the drip tray. So it'll pulsate 5 times, and if you want you can do it a bit more, just to be super safe. Yeah, so that's the wand clean. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And then you also want to clean the espresso part. You can do this before or after pouring your milk. Take out the water filter. And knock it into the included knock box. There we go. Then just do another flush, this time to rinse the shower screen. Do that once or twice. And then it would be a good idea to also, every now and then, grab a tissue or a towel or a brush. They include a brush as well. Grab that brush and clean the shower screen. As you see, there's always a bit of coffee grounds left in there, coffee oils. You want to get up there and get those out of where they are. And I think that's all you have to do to clean. Try to keep the machine as dry as you can. Wipe the parts that are wet after the session. The machine will remind you to do the cleaning cycle. It'll say clean me on the screen. That's when you do the cleaning cycle with the tablet. It sometimes will also remind you to descale. I would recommend you don't do the descale cycle on these machines because they've been shown to be problematic with the steam boiler. So when it says descale, just reset the message. In fact, if you change the water filters every 3 months, you never have to descale, which is really good. So just change the water filters on time, and you won't have to go through that process of descaling the machine, which is like an hour and a half of work. Not only is it tedious, but it's also detrimental to the boiler. Let me just pour the coffee before I end the video. Okay, the milk has been sitting for a while, but I think if you shake it and knock out any air bubbles, it should be fine. Just swirl it around in the milk jug. Keep swirling it around. Yeah, knock out any big air bubbles. And then pour. Okay, not my best work. I'm not a barista. But I'm sure with some practice you can do latte art on this machine, especially if you use the manual mode. On the automatic mode, it gives you a good froth for very little amount of work. This is what I got with froth level in the middle. So this much froth. It looks like a good amount of froth, and I'm looking forward to having this cup. But like I said, if you want to do patterns, you have to take a latte art course or do a lot of practice using the manual mode as well. Hope you enjoy the machine. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. And yeah, I'll be sending it hopefully midweek, Wednesday or Thursday. Hope you enjoy. Thanks.